Story time with Uncle Clay. And I understand that some of this is probably going to sound a bit narcissistic, but you get enough death threats and stuff over the years. You deal with enough crazy people. You read some of the comments that people leave in my comment sections, about the things they would like to see happen to me and the things they want to do to me, and again, the threats of violence, the death threats. And I save all that stuff. I do. And I don't normally like talking about it publicly because, frankly, I don't like bringing attention to it. I don't like my friends and family living in fear, being around me, and stuff of that nature, because 99.999% of the time, there's nothing to it. It's just somebody running their mouth on the internet behind a fake profile. But every now and then you get a real life nut job that, for whatever reason, thinks that the internet is real life and thinks that people who have opinions different than theirs is an attack at their very existence. You see that a lot with people in the LGBTQ trans community. They think that if you don't acknowledge their existence, that they don't exist, and for them to not exist, that means you shouldn't exist in a lot of their eyes. So we see that a lot with, if you look at some of these most recent mass pew-pews that have happened, it's been people from that group trying to force people to acknowledge that they exist by trying to take people from your lives that do exist. So this stuff happens, is my point. These things are not necessarily related that we're about to talk about here as I take a Sunday drive out here on the reservoir, heading back home. Beautiful day, by the way. So we go out last night. Had a great time at Shuckers. We promoted that event for them on the Clay Edwards show. They had literally over 1,000 people show up, I believe. That's what I was told, that we were partying with thousands, literally thousands of people last night. You can go and check out some of the photos and stuff on my Facebook page. Great times at Shuckers, phenomenal event. So we get ready to leave, and me and my girlfriend, we met over at a friend of hers house out on the reservoir. And so we just left our cars there. We called an Uber. We don't drink and drive. We called an Uber over to Shuckers. Knew that we were stone sober at that point, but we knew we would not be when we were leaving. So everybody ends up getting different Ubers and kind of going their different directions. Girlfriend and I ended up getting an Uber, ordering an Uber. I ordered it in my name. And we get there, and this black lady picks us up. And she's kind of nice for a minute. And her car stunk. It was nasty. The car was nasty. Uber's really let the quality of vehicles dip tremendously. The standard of vehicles and how people should keep their cars clean. But that aside, it was really hot in the vehicle. And it was hot outside last night. So I asked the lady, could we cut the air on? She said, yeah, and she cuts the heat on all the way up, both sides of the controller. So we're a little Honda CRV, I think. I got a screenshot of that, the tag and all that. So, we pull out of Shuckers, and we take that left. It's that Conestoga Road the Shuckers is on, I think. And we pull back out on the Rice Road. And you take that left that takes you back, that road that Main Harbor's on. Then you would take a left at the end of that to get on the spillway, to come back across to the Rankin side of the reservoir. Well, this lady, at this point, I've had to roll the windows down because you can't breathe in the car, it's so hot. And she's text messaging, and me and the girlfriend are in the back seat of the vehicle. I almost told this story last night, but I wanted to sleep on it and see if I still felt as dramatic or sure about it today as I did last night. I did report all this to Uber. And so she's texting and driving was not the priority in this situation. Both lanes can turn left off of that road onto Lake Harbor to turn left to go across the spillway, the Lower Head Dam side. And she almost hits the car that's turning beside us. pays it no attention. They're honking at us. I'm like, ma'am, can you drive? And then we get up about 100 feet, 200 feet, 500 feet, something like that. She's still texting. And it's another car. I said, ma'am, can you please pay attention to the road? You know, at this point, now I paid for the Uber to take us all the way to my house in downtown Brandon. We were strictly just going to stop by this other house to get a few of our belongings out of our vehicles. And then we were going to have to get a ride back to our cars today, which we just did. We had a friend take us back. But it's at that point I noticed that the lady had made a phone call, but no word was ever said. But you could see on the dash of her car that she was on the phone with a fellow by the name of Boosie. You know, something or another. Like, this was the guy's name, Boosie. You know, I started getting a bad feeling about all this. You know, like, this is not going good. And I can be a bit paranoid too. Like I said early in the video, if you're just tuning in, you know, you get enough death threats, you know, you get enough threats, physical threats, stuff of that nature over the years, being outspoken and in the media like I am. You know, you take things serious. You know, situational awareness. I don't lack it. You know, I pay attention to my surroundings and, you know, the type of situation I may have found myself in. So I noticed this lady's got this phone call going. I don't know what the point of this phone call is, but it's on Bluetooth. So whoever was on the other end of this call could hear everything we were talking about in the vehicle, which at this point, I made it very clear to my girlfriend sitting beside me in a text. I showed her a text message, said, don't say a word. This lady is trying to set us up for something. Don't know what exactly, but she's trying to get us on something. So, you know, this is where my speculation comes in, based on the fact she almost killed us twice while driving. And then the fact that she cut the heat on instead of the air. That wasn't an accident. She was doing that to be a bitch. And then who did she call and why did she call? I believe that she was about to pretend to break down on the side of the road if we had gotten closer to my house. If we had gotten out of here on 471, I believe she was going to break down, and whoever she's talking to was going to show up and try to do something. They was going to F around and find out what they were going to do. But I firmly believe that Uber driver was trying to set me up to get jumped, or worse, one way or another. At minimum, maybe try to record us having a conversation. Maybe she thought I would say something racist. I don't know. I don't do that, so it's a waste of energy. But it was a very weird experience at minimum. So, of course, I reported her to Uber just based on the bad driving alone. The texting and driving was absolutely horrendous. I know people was like, Clay, you know, you're being mighty narcissistic. You think anybody cares about you? Hey, look, I feel the same way too. I think it's ridiculous to think people care about me, but I can show y'all my inbox in my comment section and let you make that decision for yourself. Unfortunately, there are nut jobs. There's people out here that I've had to get restraining orders against. There's one guy that if he comes back into Rankin County, he's going to prison. There's an active search warrant out for him for crossing the line, trying to make something physical, all because he don't like words I say on the internet. So look, I mean, I ain't scared to roll with somebody, but 47 years old. I'm a grown ass man. I can hear people say things online and not want to go physically fight them or shoot them. Y'all need to grow up. You're a bunch of sissies. You're a bunch of emotional sissies that think that people having a different opinion than you is a threat to your existence. And if you fool around with me, I promise you, you'll find out. This is Rankin County out here. This ain't Jackson. Jody Owens ain't the DA out here. I feel a lot better about being able to defend myself out here. So, with that said, be very cautious about who you get in an Uber with. It's the second time. I got kicked out of an Uber one time. The guy figured out who I was, some crazy gay black guy. Figured out I was Clay Edwards or Save Jackson or whatever, and started calling me a racist, homophobe, bigot, and all this other stuff, and kicked me out of the Uber. It was about 3 years ago. Right out here on the reservoir, matter of fact. We had been down at Fondren Public, hanging out, and was going to ride back to the house. And boy, it was in August or early September. I remember how hot it was. They're some emotional creatures, man. Nobody backs baby in a corner. I ought to get a lawyer and try to sue Uber over this is what I ought to do. Again, I know it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like I'm being narcissistic, thinking anybody gives enough of a shit about me to want to do anything to me. But if you had been in that car last night, there's no way you wouldn't have felt the same way. There was something way out of the ordinary going on. And felt like we was about to get trapped up in a bad situation if we had gotten back in that car when we stopped by that house where our vehicles were. So ended up spending $45, almost $50 on a $15 Uber ride across the spillway. And then I had to get another Uber, which was about another $30 or so. So I spent almost, I guess you could say, with the tip I gave the other guy. The second Uber driver was great. About $100 last night for an Uber ride. But hey, you know what? Still way cheaper than getting the DUI or killing somebody, going to jail. You know, all the reasons you shouldn't drink and drive. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining about that at all. But, you know, my buddy Jason's an Uber driver, and it's who I usually use all the time. But I don't like reaching out to people at 1 in the morning when I haven't talked to them. Hey, are you working tonight? So, moving forward, I would definitely have my rides from figured out. And I'm not just randomly jumping in another Uber again in my life in town. It's a damn shame we got to that point that that folks can't just disagree with people without wanting to have them killed. Really disappointed in y'all. But I'm not surprised, because I see what you do to yourselves in your own community. You go through Jackson, I can look at the murder rate. I was going to say y'all are, well, as a Friday, y'all were at 93 homicides for the year. I mean, Chokwe Lumumba tells us it's all interpersonal violence. So, of course, if that's the case, you're killing your own, you're killing your best friend, your cousin, your uncle, your aunts, your dads, your moms. Of course you'll kill the white guy that calls you out on your bad behavior. I've heard there's a bounty out on me in Jackson. You ain't gonna get the opportunity to get that one. I'm just gonna tell y'all. So, I know. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I hope y'all are having a good Sunday. I'm about to go to the house, cook a steak, drink a cold beer, get ready to do my show tomorrow. Got a big week planned. You know, that's the thing too. Hey, I'm a very public person. I tell y'all where I'm gonna be at all the time. You know, I ain't scared of none of y'all. I am not scared of y'all. But I am situationally aware. I put out where I'm going to be. I go there. You know, places you ain't going to find me. At a predominantly Democrat nightclub in Jackson, or a gas station in Jackson. Where you get caught slipping, unfortunately, is when you get an Uber rides and you don't know whose vehicle you're getting in. That is a little uncharted territory there. Because, you know, one of those deals, I guess I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. You know, it ain't because I didn't have my gun with me, because you can't take a gun in Shuckers. So, and we didn't drive my car to Shuckers. We rode an Uber to Shuckers. So, one time without a gun is on the way back to get my car where my gun's at. It's really, really, really pushing me into doing the concealed carry thing just a little bit more nowadays. But still, even concealed carry, you can't take a gun in Shuckers. I don't like feeling like we reached a point where I just have to not go places if I ain't got a gun. I refuse to believe that we've gotten to that point around here where I have to worry about that. That ain't how I'm going to live my life. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But I ain't trying to expedite it either. Anyway, I can't read y'all's comments while I'm driving now. I hope y'all are having a good day. I'm going to play this out with Uber today, and I'll give y'all an update. I bet you what's going to happen. I bet you $100 right now. Uber suspends me from the app. They did this last time I filed a complaint. They suspended me from the app for getting kicked out of the Uber randomly. And of course, all the little gay black dude had to do is pretend that I said some kind of hateful rhetoric or something like that. He felt he was in danger, air quotes. You know, like I said, all you got to be is black and gay, and it's like the believe all women. They don't question it. You know, that's why, like on social media, if somebody that has the right pronouns in their bios, and they have their themselves marked as a minority and gay, if they report your post for hateful content or bullying or whatever, it counts as like 100 to 1. It counts 100 times more than a regular person, straight, race. It doesn't matter. Your vote, your complaints don't count. I bet you $100. Like most of us, like me, being straight and white, if I complain or if I report a post on social media, I always just get that message back from Facebook or TikTok or whoever. We did not find the post you reported the post you reported did not violate our community service terms of service. But anything I say violates terms of service if it's reported by somebody with some pronouns and rainbows in their bio. It's awfully funny how that works. Awfully funny how that works. I did see one comment. I'm at a red light. It said, if you get an enhanced carry permit, you can carry a gun wherever you like except for courthouses and police stations. Yeah, but businesses still have the right to not allow people with firearms in. And most bars, and I understand it, look, I'm as pro two-way, as pro carry everywhere of a guy that there can be. But I'm also a former nightclub owner, and I would not let people bring their guns in my bars. And I understood if they didn't want to come because of that, no harm, no foul. But I just don't think that guns and alcohol need to mix together. And I know most people will say, but concealed carry permit people are the most responsible people out there. I don't argue that at all, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. And it's up to it's that business owner's right. And I don't want to step on business owners' rights. I don't think the government should be telling businesses they have to do anything. So if the business chooses not to allow firearms in, it is what it is. But I agree with you on all that. And I'm not even saying I don't disagree. I'm not even saying I disagree with you. I'm just explaining, why Shuckers doesn't allow firearms in, because they physically searched everybody walking in last night there on Halloween. All right, just wanted to get that off my chest, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm about to run to the store, get a 6-pack, go watch the football, and cook a couple steaks and get ready for the show tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe out there. Go support locally owned businesses. Buy a FAFO shirt at buyfafo.com.